The views expressed in the following podcast are not our views. They're not anyone's views.
That's it?
The disclaimer is partly shut down.
Oh.
Welcome to Chew and Change. The people are real, the drinking is real, and the opinions, unfortunately, are also real. Happy New Year's, everyone!
Happy New Year. Tim, do you remember what your resolution is going to be?
Yeah. No more sex jokes on the podcast.
Good. We're trying to reach a bigger audience.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
On today's show, we discussed Trump pulling out of Syria. There were questions about how long the U.S. could keep going and how many men they could fit in there.
Jesus, Tim, did you write this? Okay. But first, the stock market keeps bouncing up and down.
Oh, for crying out loud.
It's hard to know what's going on unless you're already insider.
Insider!
Well, that didn't last long.
That's what she said.
Welcome to and Change. This is Josh, and I am drinking cognac. It is a certain kind of cognac, which I've now forgotten the name of.
It's French, starts with a C. It's like Corsair or something like that.
It sounded fancy.
It's not a fancy. It tastes like cough syrup.
He's grimacing, yeah.
You mixed it with club soda. That's
No,
probably
I
the
tried it
problem.
first, and then I tried it, watering it down with club soda, and it was slightly better, but also more cough syrupy.
Ah, okay.
It was weird, yeah. I am also trying cognac for the first time. I've never had this stuff before. I'm drinking Hennessy in the club, like y'all. And
How is it?
Yeah, you know what? It's not whiskey. I appreciate what it's doing, though. There's basically, if you can picture the strength of whiskey, but it has a bit more of a burnt caramel kind of flavor to it. That's kind of what I'm getting out of the cognac. It is mediocre.
Yep. And this is Tim. I am drinking Dewar's in soda because I don't have the crazy cognac vibe apparently today. So
Yeah,
just sort of round.
I don't either, apparently.
Yeah, and I'll vouch for it. You did try it first, then you put ice in it, you tried it, then you put club soda in it, tried it, and it never got better for you.
No.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, so for those of you who are new with us, welcome, and thank you very much for tuning into Two and Change. We are three white Canadians with zero diversity who talk about a number of different issues. We usually throw in a sex joke, courtesy of Tim.
That's what she said.
And we just, we shoot the shit about whatever it is that's on our minds, which today means those two topics.
Yeah, so we're starting off today with talking about the stock market bouncing up and down.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so it's been a crazy couple days if you watch the stock market. So record highs, record lows, down for the year across the board for pretty much every index, especially in the U.S., but also Asia, Canada, where we are, anywhere in Europe. It's been absolutely nuts.
So do you guys actually have skin in this one? Like, are you guys investors as well?
I do,
Yeah, a little bit here and there?
Not
my
too much right now.
RSP, and then also I've got like a kind of like a pension top up at work that I've basically you can either go portfolio or you can make sort of your own fund by picking other managed funds. So of course I make my own portfolio, and my own portfolio is actually doing pretty good. But
do any of you invest like in actual stocks though?
I
through
did.
my RSP.
I've sold them, though.
Through your, so like through the mutual funds in your RSP, or
No, my RSP is not mutual funds.
it's actual.
it's
Okay,
actual
fair
stock.
enough. Yeah,
I sold them about a year ago, so no.
Okay,
not
fair enough. Yeah,
currently.
I'm running a margin account.
Yeah.
That was so much fun this year. It really
I
was.
purposely avoided that like the plague.
Yeah.
That no one would give you a loan.
It's
No,
not.
I could have got one.
Yeah, it's not that bad. The idea of like, my margin account is
It's
doing
an audio format, Josh. He flipped me off.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
That was supposed to be between us, Tim.
Exactly. Unreal. Yeah.
It was deserved.
I
I
can
will
tell you
admit that was deserved.
I can tell you 2018 was a very wild year for those of us who were running margin accounts. Anyone who's buying stocks, really, it was a bit of a wild year. I found actually that most of if by volatility we mean, oh my goodness, where's my money? You're talking about the last half of the year. The first half of 2018 was actually really quite good.
But the stocks overall are down. They're continuing a downward trend.
They are.
I mean, so there's a term called dead cat bounce, that throw a cat off of a dead cat off of a high enough building,
and it'll bounce.
It will bounce.
Yes,
and it's still dead, and it's still going to hit the concrete.
Yeah. I've said this and I've said it on the podcast. I don't remember what episode, and I said the U.S. economy is a house of cards.
Yeah,
and I think we're starting to see the beginnings of that the wind
come
starting
down?
to sort of blow towards those
when
cards.
you have Steve Mnuchin doing shit like calling the bank saying, "Hey, you guys are still liquid, right?"
Yeah.
People are worried when.
No kidding, right?
Well, it's like, oh, there's no big deal. It's like, well, then why? It's like this. It would be like the CEO of General Mills coming on the television going, "So we've confirmed there is no asbestos in Cheerios."
Exactly.
We weren't worried about that
Exactly.
until you open your mouth.
We weren't worried before.
But now we
bad
are.
are things?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Jesus.
It was definitely one of those moments where you're like, why was that necessary? But I mean, here's what I can tell you. Yes, there is a lot of. I mean, when is the stock market not a house of cards? Basically, that's my question.
It's legalized gambling.
Well, not necessarily. Well, it can.
yeah.
It can be. It can be. I mean,
Modern stock. It's less about the individual going to a broker, buying a couple stocks. Those are the vast minority of investors. Now it's the big clearing houses. It's the big hedge funds. They go in, they buy the majority of everything. They dry up the market for the little guy. And what they wind up doing is they conduct transactions by computer so fast that no human being can possibly react.
Yeah.
That this has actually caused problems before when people just enter zeros wrong and shit like that.
yes.
So, I think.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
There's a lot of things happening. I mean, there's the stock buybacks is a huge problem, and there's other issues as well. But I think one of the things is that the economy is on all fronts. It seems like it's going forward, but we're not seeing rising wages because I think there's the reality that the businesses know that the long-term longevity of their businesses are at risk, and the current generation is not making enough. The major millennial generation coming into its sort of fruition is not making what the boomer generation is, and the dads
it's funny
are through the
it's
roof.
actually not the
Yeah.
millennial generation anymore. The millennial generation, like the kids coming up now, are not millennials.
No.
like millennials stopped being millennials in 2000.
Yeah, no, that's but
So, I mean,
People
the-
who were born in the year 2000, they can drink
people
now.
people in the job entering the job market today are not. So to your point though. I mean, this is when the millennials are supposed to be. Say they're supposed to be
Buying houses.
Yeah.
and becoming
And
economic.
they're not.
No, they're not, because it's not like, are millennials ruining the toast industry? I fucking hate those articles. It's like, you know why millennials aren't buying houses? Because
we've
they
had
don't have the money.
Because there's
Yeah.
been a 500% increase in student debt in the past 20 years. That's why they're not buying
There's
houses.
been
And
no
a 5,000% increase in the prices of houses.
and no real increase in wages since the 80s. And you wonder, well, why aren't millennials buying diamonds? Oh, they're spending their money on avocado toast.
And
That's exactly
That's
why.
what I mean
Fucking
by
hate
it's a
that.
house of cards. Because you can't have that underlying dynamic continuing on and still have record profits, because those record profits they're built on nothing. And eventually something's going to come home to roost, and it's not going to be pretty. And I think we're starting to see the realities of that. I don't know exactly where the bubble is,
Yeah.
but something's happened. It's kind of like the default trade swaps. We didn't quite know what was going on until it happened.
Yeah.
I
Right?
think-
And I think it's something going on now.
I don't think it's going to be as dire as all that. I think we're going to probably see another 2008 similar, but I also think we're going to
was
see
pretty
something-
dire.
That was pretty dire, man.
Pretty dire.
That was in living memory, the
But
worst
that's not-
recession.
But that's not the Great Depression. I mean, I think probably the worst we're going to see is something like Japan's lost decade, where Japan basically had they did okay, but they had like no growth for an
Exactly.
entire decade. You had an entire decade of people struggling to find work, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't like poverty stricken, but at the same time, they just did not do well.
But I think
But-
this is almost
Their
a worse in its own way, because
Not really, because
yes,
look-
no, because here's the thing: the decade that this we have a lost decade, which I think is actually a good analogy, but I think it's going to be compounded by the fact that the decade that the generation it's affecting is just now starting to see how they can get on their feet from the last one.
Yeah.
And they have never had a chance to fully recover, so they can't absorb the hit. It's going to sink them, and that huge amounts of debt that is at just unheard of levels is
the
going
US
to collapse the economy for a lot longer than 10 years, I think.
well, in the U.S., they've got $1 trillion of student debt. And a lot of it they're having trouble collecting. And
That's all paper, though. That's just paper debt.
of course, it's all paper debt, but the thing
It's
is,
still
but the idea-
collectible.
It's still collectible, and there's
collectible
actual
like the-
business
but-
plans, though. It's not owed by the government.
But hold up, that is so-called collectible. Yeah, so are all the bad mortgages. So what? People just walked away. Like, it's just like that's exactly what's going to happen.
well, no, you can't walk away from student debt in
That's
the
the
U.S.
difference. You can walk away from a mortgage. 7 years later, it's gone. It's done. You can't walk away from student debt. That shit's for life. It's like herpes.
And what do you think they're going to do when 85 million people default on their student loans?
Well,
They'll work out a solution. They have to. They have to write some stuff off.
I'm sure poorhouses
will, but-
might be lifted back up or something.
Are there no
ridiculous.
poorhouses?
Are there no poorhouses?
Merry Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not bringing back debtor's prison anytime soon. Like it's that's not where I see this
That's
going.
like a Trump wet dream.
Well,
what are you talking about?
Again, I mean, they can do.
They don't need to bring back debtor's prison. They can simply separate their children from them and lock them in cages. Wait, wait? What? Did I say that out loud?
That's not happening.
No,
right?
no, of course not. No. Here's what I can tell you. Though. There's
certainly
one
not a
thing-
modest proposal.
But okay, but looking at the Canadian economy, for example, we of course caught a lot of the heat as well as the volatility that's going on. I do not see this bear market it's a bear market, granted. I don't see
I don't
this.
think there's no denying that around the table.
And I do not
It's not a
necessarily
dire
think,
bear market.
I do not think that this bear market is a herald to the kind of woe of a recession necessarily. And the reason why I don't think that is because of these things called lagging indicators. There's lagging indicators and there's leading indicators. One of the leading indicators of market performance is the stock market. One of the lagging indicators is employment. Our unemployment rate is ridiculously low right now.
Do you know when the most recent highest spike in employment was?
I'm
In
listening.
the last 40 years?
Probably in the 80s.
2007.
Really?
Oh, right before 2000. Go figure.
Yeah.
See, this is where I
But it
see.
hasn't spiked though.
Except, okay, but you're completely ignoring. The other day, I heard a trumpet blast, and there's Angel with a bull just poured out some locusts and shit.
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
end of days, bitches.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be fatalist
Rider with a-
here.
rider
I'm
with a
not trying
pale
to be
horse cane.
fatalist here. I'm just trying to be real. Like I think
Yeah.
I think
I think there's a correction coming. Yes.
Yeah,
But I don't think
the
that
market has. Look, there's going to be a correction. It's the market's gone up and up and up and up, and people have accepted unlimited growth as the way forward. Because I mean, seriously, I mean, if you're not growing,
the
growing, you're shrinking.
uneducated investors
Well, yeah,
have
but-
accepted growth going forward, but the ones who know what they're doing, like me,
Well, the uneducated individual investor doesn't matter in today's market.
No.
That's what it comes down to. Because all you have right now are you have these major hedge funds, investment banks, et cetera, who only care what they can get out of this quarter. Because if they don't like where it's going the next quarter, they're just going to dump your stock and find the next growth stock. That's all they're going to do.
yeah, but that's not necessarily how hedge fund managers work.
So, despite everything that I actually think everything's going to fall apart, I really think it's going to take a nosedive. It's going to go bad. But
it already did.
I'm
No, no,
stocking
no,
up in
no,
bullets.
Not
and bacon.
I don't know if it's that level, but I think the stock.
I
market-
bought a vault.
Yeah, it's.
Are you seeing like a 50% drop coming?
Oh God, no, nothing like that.
I'm seeing
Because that was 08. 08 was a 50% drop.
Then yeah.
Which
So Mark, I will stand by that statement.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, 'cause I don't-
so here's
'cause
the
the
thing,
condition-
though,
the same
but
conditions
I'm looking
don't
at going,
exist.
it's time to invest, baby. Right?
It's a good time to buy. But I think the thing is that don't mistake volatility for the same as, oh my God, end of days. Because I think if the market has any indicators that it's going to be 2008 again, Trump is out. That's one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already on his last leg as far as the current trade wars and everything are considering.
Yeah.
The partial government shutdown, et cetera, et cetera. But I think if the market takes a nosedive directly related to Trump's policies, it doesn't matter what MAGA hat asshole is going to have, he's going to be out.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
the
think that's-
economy
and
is
that's what's
the
gonna
single
happen.
greatest indicator of who's going to win or lose the
But
next
the
election.
damage is done. Like the rules and stuff in the.
I said that in
opening of
2008, and
I don't know. I'm not sure how. I mean, there's been some deregulation on the banks, which is like the big boogeyman in the room, and that is something that is done on the basis of the assumption that corporations cannot learn, and I don't necessarily think that's true, because
learning is a person trait, and I don't assign personhood to corporations.
yeah, fair enough. But I
That's
mean,
why you
then
gotta
let's say
regulate the
let's
shit
say
out of
boards
them.
of directors. Boards of directors are incapable of learning, and I'm not sure that's the case. I don't believe that either. So I do think that there is a correction coming. In fact, if it hasn't already happened, like if we look at what's happened in the last month especially, there's been a correction in the market already. This already could be the end of it. I don't think it is, but it could be.
I think it'll be we're not going to see the end of it until there is certainty and stability in the market, which includes things like Donald Trump stopped threatening the whole we're going to shut down the border with Mexico,
that's not gonna happen.
or the Chinese U.S. tit for tat trade war.
that's not
Until
Not going to happen. Yeah.
there's going to be uncertainty, volatility, but that doesn't mean crash. I think we're going to see massive spikes up and down, which is not good if you're an investor. It doesn't matter what you
But
are.
eventually
you would rather see consistency, even if it's consistently down.
That's why, as a margin account holder, I invest in dividends. Like that's my go-to. I'm not investing in high risk pot stocks or anything like that. I go toward the dividends.
So you have have to remember that the stock market is based on trust, and eventually enough volatility leads to an eroding of that trust, and things start to collapse and go awry. And when you have debt thresholds that are through the roof, it's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, and on that thought, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to take our second topic.
Oh, yeah.
Which was...
Trump is pulling out.
Oh, Trump is pulling out. That's right. Oh,
and Iraq is forcing him out.
Oh, God. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Two and Change, the podcast where whiskey is the most superior drink.
Hold on just one damn minute. There are many drinks out there.
Like Kahlua and coffee. I need my
beer.
caffeine. And beer.
And those drinks exist. Whiskey is better. You know what else is better? Our website, twoandchange.ca.
Better than what?
Better than all of the above. Where you can also find our blog at twoandchange.ca. You can also look us up on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us there, and hopefully you're enjoying the show.
And welcome back to the second half of our show. So the weekly What the F actually has the week off still.
And the reason is not necessarily because it was like we just decided that. It's because the world was crazy enough in real headlines that there wasn't really enough room for the bizarre ones this week.
I know, right?
Because everything has just gone completely batshit insane.
Yeah.
Between the market and Syria and all this
Trump
other crap.
and
Trump.
Yeah,
Trump
Trump
again.
and Trump and Cheetos and Trump.
And Japan.
And Japan.
Whaling.
Whaling, yes, that was also a thing that was happening.
I'm sorry, wait, what? What century are we in?
Yeah, Japan, they re-legalized
19th,
it?
Tim.
They
Apparently.
re-legalized it, right? They're not handing out subsidies yet.
So they withdrew from the whole.
Hold on.
What are you doing?
He's
okay. This is he's.
Sorry, I had to turn up the oil on your lamp.
The oil
It's
lamp,
starting to get a little dark in here.
Insufficient illumination. Yeah.
Like I keep saying, Josh, visual jokes do not work on an audio format.
The pause was good enough.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
There was no sound effects, though. Maybe you'll add some in editing.
Yeah, no. Quit saying you're gonna add shit in editing. Quit saying we'll put a picture up on the website. No,
not
I'm
happening.
not. Unless you do it, I'm not gonna do it.
Fair enough,
Anyway,
yep.
so they pulled out of this whole treaty that says, "Oh, you're not gonna whale," and they even stopped the whole. Well, we're doing it for scientific purposes. Like, nah, we're just gonna fucking kill some whales.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Let's go kill some whales. Why? Because ego and also money.
So, question: does Japan have the right to unilaterally go kill whales in its own waters?
And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. We can disagree with it, but we don't have to. We have no right to invade their sovereignty over it.
No, there's ways we can penalize them for sure.
Oh, sure.
We have right to
we can force-
penalize, but I'm questioning: do they have the fundamental right to go kill whales?
Well, sovereign. They have their sovereign right of their own sovereign territory. We can't do, but on international waters, we can enforce it.
Yeah.
Sweet, let's get some like naval boats and if we're going back to 19th century, I said let's go fucking pirate this shit.
You know what I think we need to do? I think that what we need to do is we need to take over a Klingon bird of prey, go back in time, go get some humpback
By
whales,
slingshotting around the sun.
because that'll work
at high warp.
At high warp, and then grab some humpback whales, and then have our chief engineer complain about the weight. It's not just the whales, sir. It's the water.
Question. Transparent aluminum. I don't think we still figured. Yes, we did. We did figure that out. I read that we figured out transparent
We
aluminum.
did, yeah. Basically bending light around it kind of deal. Yeah.
Star Trek 4 is a classic. Fuck off.
You know what we could do? We could make drone whales.
Ooh.
That way, when they capture them, and then we have like electromagnetic electromagnets in them, that when they go on the
tase
boat,
back.
No,
So you
they
shoot
tase
them.
back. Oh, you tase the boat. I didn't even think about tasing the boat with all that water. That's one way.
That was a beautiful.
So,
of course, you kill
beautiful
every
image.
whale around.
I was actually
It's
thinking
electricity and
so
water.
I was actually thinking of electrifying it so then it like quadruples to 10 times the amount of weight, and it just sinks the boat.
Okay,
Well,
so
I mean, let's not murder the people. Come on now.
Just tasing them with electricity is
they're trying to kill whales. Well, okay. Well,
Set phasers on stun. That's what I'm saying.
Now here's
You know?
the problem. No, here's the problem though. And this is why we have international fishing treaties, regardless.
Yeah.
That yes, you can fish in your waters, but you fish don't know if they're Canadian or Japanese or
Right.
something. They move around.
Oh, they know.
right?
Exactly. So the whale just be like, you, the boaters come up and like, you just swam to the wrong part of town, babe. Sorry, that's right.
Looks like someone's a little lost.
Salmon at the border have nationality identity disorder.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, take a look, for example.
Y'all
of,
need to get up there and have some maple syrup, eh?
That's right.
so look at the border, for example, St. Pierre, Miquelon, and Canada.
Sure.
So you have they have fishermen who there's a little dispute between French waters and Canadian waters there. Very little dispute.
Very little. Yes.
But at the same
We
time,
settled it over cognac.
At the same time, if I overfish in Canadian waters, that's going to infringe on the French's right to fish the same school of fish when they eventually swim over to the French waters.
Right.
So I can't necessarily. It would be like shitting in the town well.
Exactly.
Like,
except you're more.
I think that's what they did in Listowel.
Maybe it's more.
Too soon? Too soon?
Okay, it's more like shitting in a stream that runs by your property.
Sure, which then runs into the town well.
I mean,
like Listowel.
I mean, do you
right, exactly. Yeah, otherwise someone's winning Listowel or Walkerton or I don't know, take your pick.
any one of these towns.
Exactly.
So I mean, we do have precedents to say that just because it's by your water doesn't mean you can, take a shit in it. So I mean, we do have like a very simple analogy there, but so I mean, we can say in some circumstances you can't just, start murdering whales just for fun.
But from a purely ecological standpoint, what I can say is that
there goes my Tuesday plans.
If the Japanese decide to go crazy in their whaling in their own waters only, that will not make the whale go extinct.
No, that probably won't, but it
won't.
can't help.
No, it's not going to help, but it will not, And I mean, a part of me is also wondering how much illegal poaching was going on before they pulled out anyway. That's not a very good argument.
Well,
but
I mean, they had the whole we're doing it for scientific purposes bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're just happening to sell the meat.
Right.
And by the way, we're not really.
Shit, why not? If you've killed the whale anyway. Yeah.
And by the way, we're conducting no actual studies. The study is how quickly can we kill this whale?
Exactly.
Turns out very fast.
Yeah.
Let's see how much faster we can kill the next whale. Oh, we're getting so much data.
We are getting all kinds of data on that. We're very efficient at this.
Well, it's Japan. I imagine they have some sort of whale killing robot by now.
Exactly. Yeah. The HMS Moby Dick is out now. It's
What was the name of the boat?
Captain Ahab's ship.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shit. It's been so long since I've read that book.
Hey Google.
No. We don't know.
We don't use Google.
And I'm getting a Google Home in here, so we're gonna have to put a moratorium.
Hey, well, there we go. Yeah. Also, I apologize to all of our listeners that I just activated your Google for you, unless you're on an iPhone or something.
Alexa, buy a copy of Moby Dick. Alexa, confirm purchase. And we're never going to be listened to again.
No, that's terrible. Yeah,
my dad has them. Like,
yeah.
Oh shit! I hope you're listening to on your headphones, Dad.
I'm really curious now what the name of the ship was. Whatever.
Well, we can look it up, or I'm sure one of our listeners will let us know.
Yeah.
I'm a mixed feelings. Like, I don't think they. Okay. I think it's hypocritical.
The giraffe is on the endangered species list now.
What is
the giraffe?
Is that because people were hitting it in the road?
What?
The giraffe.
You can find video after video after video of people in Africa who are like colliding with giraffes on the road because the giraffe runs into the road and you.
I don't think that's the number one reason giraffes are.
If you think hitting a moose is bad, try hitting a giraffe. Holy shit!
Just the neck alone, the whiplash.
Like
that's probably why they're more susceptible to it because they get freaking their necks get snapped so easily.
Crazy, yeah.
No, okay, like it's hypocritical for you to sit there as long as the whale is not endangered,
right? And I don't.
It's hypocritical
think it is.
For you to eat, say, venison.
Yeah.
And not eat, and say you have a problem with eating whale. I mean, wild meat is wild meat. I mean, you can make the distinction for culture.
It's not on grounds of whether or not it's for me. You want to eat porcupine, or you want to eat moose, or you want to eat South African pigeon. I don't really
whale's
care.
Vagina.
Yeah, if you want to eat that, that's up to you.
Yep.
However that is.
You feel like I feel like you would be more the person that would eat the whale's dong, not the whale's vagina. I feel like that.
Hey, that might be a good
I have a feeling it's more one of the things that Jordan would probably say, hey guys, you should review this and hand us a whale dong.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think tell us what it is.
Whales have penis bones, I think. So
they do.
It would be a very
so
bony,
they have
meat, I bet.
But you know what? Where there's bones, where there's bone, there's muscle. So there is meat
No,
there.
there'd be muscle, but I think it would probably be very sinewy and like probably wouldn't taste that good.
I don't know. Maybe
Well,
not.
if one of our listeners
You know what?
wants
Oxtail is good, so maybe
I've never had
I think-
oxtail.
you'd
I
have to
you-
slow roast it or something.
you would
right?
have to braise a whale's penis.
Probably.
But then you'd have to find something large enough to braise it in.
Well, you
you
cut
can-
it up into pieces.
cut up like pieces like an
Well,
oxtail.
I guess, yeah. But I mean,
You've had oxtail. I've never had oxtail.
Oh, oxtail's
In fact, you
really
just
good.
rattled off like a whole bunch of meats. I've never tasted moose, never tasted porcupine, never tasted.
I don't think
South
I've had-
African pheasant.
well, porcupine
pheasant's
is
good.
pork. I mean, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No,
Why is it called porcupine?
I don't know because that's not why, Tim.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it has because of reasons.
Because of reasons.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're on the same page.
We will
that,
quill that
So,
argument
anyways,
right
back
now.
to
Womp,
we went on a
Okay.
tangent, but my larger point was that I don't want necessarily have
larger.
ethical.
Whale's penis.
Oh my god, this is a good start. Okay, this is the last one of this.
to a supermarket near you.
Dum, dum, bum.
Slow braised.
slow-
The mango chutney.
No, I wouldn't do it with mango chutney.
No, you need the savory, you need the
Like,
sweet. You
I
need the
honestly envision whale's penis tasting like
fish.
No,
It's
more-
like fish.
That's kind of what I'm picturing. Fish. Yeah.
I'm guessing it's like otter.
no, it's mammals, so it's a million, so it would be more
Well, yeah,
like
but like
The only people I
but like
know.
seal meat apparently tastes fishy, even though it's
The only people that I know who know what whales taste like are my villagers in Age of Empires because they would go out and they would do the whale.
Hold on, so you can't get Age of Empires 2?
One. I never played. I played two like once or twice. I'm talking the original Age of Empires. You send your villagers out in a boat and they can actually fish for whale.
Okay, I didn't know that
That's
part.
right,
I
it's
knew
great.
I knew on 2 that they couldn't get whale.
I've never
couldn't
had
get
seal meat, so I imagine it'd be a lot like seal meat.
Probably. Mm-hmm. Probably.
You'd want to skip the face because that weird like scars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some whales are still on the endangered species list, are they not? The blue whale
See,
is
I
still
would
endangered?
See, and this is where it gets interesting. Like if they're not going after endangered species, if they can somehow hunt and not hunt until the point where it's endangered,
Right.
like and somehow sustainably catch whales and eat them, I have very little problem with it.
Okay.
It's just that we've had historical problems with sustainable catching of whales.
Well, that's good. It's the biggest fish in the ocean, so there's a bunch of ego attached to it. Like I'm a whaler.
not a
I
fish.
took the whale, right? Whatever. It's not a fish. To me,
a
you
mammal.
know what my first experience with a whale was? It was Walt Disney's Pinocchio, and the whale was not the good guy in that film.
Mephisto, is that his name?
He had a name?
Do you guys
Yeah,
remember
he did.
Free Willy?
Yes.
That terrible '90s movie.
That was my second experience
Yes.
with whales. Yeah.
And Michael Jackson sang the song.
Hold me like River Jordan. You are
You're all
my
dead
friend.
oh wait, who are we talking about?
Hold me. Woo. You were the.
Okay,
My Willie is lonely.
that's
Extremely disturbing.
that's what he's saying in his backyard park. That's a whole different thing. That's between him and his 8-year-olds. Allegedly.
You speak
We're
ill of
not free of lawsuits just yet.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's dead. What's he gonna do?
He's a state.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't sue me. I'm dead.
Do you guys? So I was thinking because this reminds me of PETA and all their crazy actions.
Sure.
Do you guys that PETA has a video game out?
What?
So there was a free game on the Wii. We got a Nintendo
Please
Switch.
tell me you get to kill hunters in the video game.
You basically kind of do.
What?
With like lasers and beet juice. It's fucking weird.
Lasers
amazing.
and
I deleted it really quickly because I was like, oh well, I'll play it. Maybe I'll have some like lighter stuff.
we should be reviewing this.
We should.
We should.
Yeah, 2 and Change reviews video
So
games.
I'll download it again and bring it in,
Thank
and we'll
you.
play it.
Okay, did you see that they are trying to like had this press release about how we should change language? It's like instead of bringing home the bacon, maybe bringing home the bagels.
It was bad though. Like just as a prequel to the reviewing of this, they were talking about like there's this story and they do flashes, and I'm sitting here with my kids. I'm like stopping the game because they're like, well, and they had the sheep. We have to go stop like sheep shearers, and they're like they bashed the heads of the sheep into the wall, and I'm like, Jesus. Get this off! Like, this
no, they don't. For shearing the sheep?
Yeah,
no,
it's
no, they
all
don't.
thing.
Did you know that
It's-
PETA like kills like 96% of the animals they quote rescue?
yeah, they have
unquote?
they have like a super high kill shelter rate.
They're like
incredible.
because they're like, well, we're
Mercy
mercy
killing.
killing them. Like, you fucking hypocrites.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to see mercy? Give me the club and a baby seal. I'll show you mercy.
I'd be impressed if they were actually like eating them after, because why waste
Now it
the
actually
meat?
matters, right?
Why waste the
No,
meat?
you have to
That's
show
the thing I
dignity to the
never-
corpse. The remains have to be respectfully disposed of.
That's the thing that's always bugged me about it. I'm like, okay, I can get it if you don't want to eat meat, you want to treat the animals. There's a moral imperative to you.
Yep.
I'm fine with that. If it's dead, give it to a shelter.
Yeah.
Let somebody eat the damn thing.
Well,
like,
there's
don't
a
bury
whole-
it in the forest.
There's a whole topic.
Pet Fluffy that they rescued.
But there's a whole topic on that for agricultural stuff. Like if you take when you're a farmer and you have cows, pigs, whatever. If your pig has perfectly good meat but a broken leg, you can't butcher it legally.
Really?
Really.
I mean, I can understand if it's not
anything-
diseased.
If there is anything wrong with the animal, any defect at all, if it's got a broken jaw, broken foot, anything like that, you can't butcher it. It cannot go to market.
Well, you can eat it yourself though.
You can butcher it and eat it yourself, but you cannot take it to a butcher and have the butcher it for
Fair
you.
enough. I can
But
understand.
there were problems like that. They had
breeding.
problems in the past. Like, oh no, he's just got a broken leg. He's got gangrene. It's a little, dirty.
Cut
It's
it off.
fine.
It's fine.
Just chop around
I get it, but at the same
Regulations
time,
it
don't
looked
exist
like
in a
he
vacuum.
gnawed through his own leg.
But-
no, he doesn't have him. No.
but look, could you
Is
not?
that leprosy?
To
no,
me-
no.
To me, you just
Those are just spots. He's Dalmatian.
Inspect the meat. Just inspect the meat. If there's nothing wrong with the meat, then what? Like that's what I'm not worried about. What's wrong with the
Except,
animal? The animal's about to be dead. I don't care.
Except his problem with inspecting meat.
That's a socialist thing.
Yeah, we kind of fired
Yeah.
all the meat.
No, it's a
inspectors.
regulatory thing.
Yeah, except when the government decided not to regulate but administer, they let all the industries inspect their own meat. And guess what? Listeria outbreak after listeria outbreak after listeria outbreak. So the industry has no incentive to provide a safe product.
Well, you can threaten them with shutdowns, fines, whatever. Like that's
Sure, but that's after they already kill people. That's the problem.
They eventually learn their lesson.
No, they don't.
In the meantime,
The lesson is don't
boil
get
your
caught.
frickin' meat. In the meantime, boil your frickin' meat. That's
That's a Dutch answer if I ever heard one.
it is.
Boil your meat.
Boil your meat. Yeah, and don't eat meat with the blood still in it. Wait, hang on. That's from the Bible, and the Dutch disobey that all the time. I have never eaten blood sausage, but I've seen it in the Dutch stores.
So we
that
actually
is
are switching our chicken to free range chicken. Because I had an experience recently that so we bought some halal chicken. Actually, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with halal chicken, but for health reasons I'm only eating air chilled chicken because when they wet chill chicken they usually put it in a brine solution to keep it colder.
Yep.
But so we're looking at air chilled chicken, but we didn't want to go like a fancier grocery or something like that. So the halal stuff looked all right, so we got it.
good enough.
Roasted it, cut it open, fucking green meat in the breast.
What?
Green meat. So I was like, ugh.
Blessed
rightfully.
by Allah.
So it's
That's
the color
definitely
of Islam.
not. That's definitely not properly
But this
inspected.
is well,
No,
no. This is what happened. So there is a disease chickens can get if they are so confined in cages when growing up that they cannot flap their arms. Apparently it's or their wings rather. Apparently it is technically safe to eat. Like it's nothing wrong with it.
It's just green.
But it's green, and I'm like, then I started looking at the chicken, going, oh God, like. I'm about to eat something that couldn't even move its fucking wings while I was growing up.
That's kind of remarkable. So I've got relatives who are in the poultry industry, and
Apparently,
you'd be hard pressed to find a farm where the cages are that small.
so apparently
never been to Arkansas.
So apparently the producer, that's exactly it. So apparently the producer, I actually went to our butcher, like the butcher we go to, Western Meats.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you guys have free range? Yeah, it's all free. They have all like legit free range meat. And I said, well, this is what I found. This came from a Canadian producer. And it's like, oh yeah, that particular producer, they process in Canada, but they source a lot of their meat from the U.S.
And the U.S.
Tyson
does
chick-
not have
They
the
do
same
not have the
regulations.
same regulations.
I've seen
Yeah.
Tyson. I've been to Tyson production plants in Arkansas.
Yeah.
They are. Those chickens don't have a place to move. First of all,
Like-
you can smell them from 2 miles down the road.
Wow.
I eat meat, and I'm not going to stop eating meat off this one incident. But man, it certainly made me think about the meat that I am consuming. Going, well, okay, if we are going to eat animals, should we make sure that animal at least had some quality of life first?
Yes and no. So I give you an example, like egg, the egg industry. That's basically where my relatives are at, and they do it with a cage-based system, and it's 5 birds to a cage. The cages are big enough that 5 birds can fit in there comfortably. But there are people who are vehemently opposed to that system because when you got 12,000 birds in a barn like that, they think it's inherently inhumane, not realizing these birds are bred for that. If you were to take all the birds out of my uncle's barn and let them go free range, by that afternoon, half of them would be dead. And the reason is because they're not bred for that.
I get that argument. It's just, but at the same time, when you start seeing physiological effects on your meat and your food and things like that,
that disturbs me. Yeah,
and at some point, it's a fine line that some people will draw, and I think that was the line for me. Is that if I'm gonna eat chicken, if I have a say in it, let's do that.
Make sure it's a happy chicken that you're devouring after you've killed it.
Anyway,
so Trump pulling out of Syria.
Oh, is that the topic?
That was the topic somehow. Yeah.
Oh shit! I thought we were talking about whaling.
Yeah, you started going around whaling, and I was like, I just kind of went with it, and then I started getting confused. I'm like, wait. Yeah, so we talked about whaling.
Yes.
All right. Well,
by the way, and in case you guys didn't know, Trump pulled out of Syria. Did you know that? Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, in the next episode, we'll talk about Trump pulling out of Syria. Shit. Well, thank you so much for listening to 2 and Change. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you're checking us out on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. Make sure you're checking out our website, 2andchange.ca.
We will update it eventually.
Yep. Also, check out our Facebook page. I think we're on the Twitter or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're on the thing called Twitter.
Yep. Anyway, for 2 and Change, I'm Tim.
I'm Josh. Have a whale of a tail.
I'm Mike.
We'll see you next time. You guys could have fucking said something. I could have stopped.
Well,
this is great.
I wasn't sure.
We were gonna have
I thought I missed something.
I thought there was going to be one of those small tangents we went off, and then it just kind of ended up taking up the entire second half.
And then it was a not long enough discussion between you two about whales that I was like, maybe it's about whales. I thought it was about Syria. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm like, I'll just go with whales.
Okay, then you know what? I'll fall on the sword then, because I'm the only person who knew that we were wildly off topic the entire